How'd today go?
I thought it went well. As you guys have interviewed me after games, I could have thrown in 3 incompletions, 4 incompletions. I'm gonna be pissed about those incompletions, so I'm a little unhappy about a couple of those deep balls at the end. But I wanted to show it. I wanted to throw it far. Wanted to show them I can make these awkward throws, running around, getting out of the pocket, not necessarily staying in the pocket, taking 5, 7-step drops. I wanted to be able to show that I can get out and do those things, and I think we did that here today.
What's the difference between today and the combine?
Well, it's still grossly quiet, which is it's eerie how quiet it is in here because there's 1,000 people in here, and no one's saying a word except for after a couple of throws. But so that pressure of weird quietness, because we don't operate in quiet. It's always loud. You're in a stadium, so it's just a little different. But you got to kind of throw to some guys you're a little more familiar with. I know we had 3 guys here that didn't go to the university, but I think they helped out big time. But also being able to throw to Demarie and Kendall and Emmanuel, that just felt really good to be able to throw to a guy you're used to.
Drew, from the time this process started to now, how are you better, or how are you a different quarterback?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me was, I think there's sometimes in film where I could have been a little more precise with the footwork that I had, and that's what we tried to do in California with Jordan and Justin. That it was going to be a lot of long drills where you're going to get tired, your footwork, it'll get sloppy a little bit, but we're going to try to get you back to base. We're going to try to make it perfect every single time, regardless of the situation. Get thrown in, awkward foot. That is what it is. And if I can get to that point, you'll go 10 out of 10 on the easy balls instead of 7 out of 10.
Drew, can you kind of walk us through what a typical day is like out in California with Jared and Tyree and everybody else?
So we wake up and we wake up around 6-ish, and get our meals in, and our pre-made meals. They were delicious. Then we ended up leaving the house around 7-ish, getting out there with throw. So we'll be out on the field throwing, running, and working on the 5-10-5, the agility, all that kind of stuff. And then going in and lifting from 8 to 2-ish, 1:30. Then we'll head to our PT at 2. Get done with that at about 3:15, 3:30. Head back and we'll meet from 4 to 7 with Jordan and Justin, and go over certain interview questions and a couple plays drawn up on the board. And then at the beginning, just learning ball, we had to watch an NFL team and watch the last 5 games, break down first down, second down, third down, all that stuff. So by the end of the day, it's 8 o'clock California time, 10 o'clock here. I was pretty tired, so where I ended up just hitting the hay pretty quick after that, and it starts over again.
Paul Adams said this kind of felt like a last hurrah for your senior class one last time together. Did that feeling kind of seep in a little bit?
For sure, especially being here with you guys one last time. It's coming to real life now, but no, it definitely felt like that. Being able to throw the football here one more time, but it's not a college ball, it's an NFL ball. So it really hit home hard that it's probably my last time in here competing, for real, competing, and this place has meant a lot to me. And it's a sad day when you feel like that's the last time you're going to be in here doing things.
Drew, Pro Day only has 32 teams generally when there's a quarterback. Do you have a sense of how big this was, maybe for your teammates that maybe aren't on a first-round radar, and for the program in general?
Yeah, I've never been one to talk or brag about myself, but I thought it was big today for having all those teams here, being able to get guys like you said, weren't necessarily a first-round guy, and me throwing last and letting all the workouts go. It was just good for this place. It was good for the guys that I played with here for a couple of years. I was just happy to be able to see everybody in this environment, because we went to the combine, saw a couple guys, went to the Senior Bowl, was in this environment big time, but to be able to get around everybody, get in a really intense environment, it really was special for me to see everybody in it.
With all those teams, NFL Network here, what's it kind of like having that spotlight?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. You go back and think about it. You're playing LSFA football and you're in 5th grade, and your mom's videotaping you, and then now you're out here, and NFL Network's taping you, and ESPN's here, and there's 32 NFL teams. It's crazy, man. It's super legit, and you just got to realize that you're just throwing a football. And it's nothing crazy. You're just throwing a football in front of some people that can make some pretty big decisions.
Can you describe the emotions for you the past 4 years, from committing at your dad's restaurant, Summit Grill, to today, what this 4 years has been like?
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster, man. It's a lot of happy times, a lot of tough times, a lot of times that you look at it and you're like, man, I hate that I'm going through this, but it's going to make me better. And a lot of times you're like, wow, this is awesome. Got to keep a level head. Can't get too high on myself. And so overall, I wouldn't change a thing, even some of the bad times, because I think it made me who I was. And it's just what Mizzou is. And, when we fought through the good times and got to the good times, it was amazing. It made those times so much better. So in the end, I wouldn't change a thing.
Drew, when you're in those interviews with teams, not specific questions, but what are they trying to do? Are they trying to get you uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Yeah, just talk about how that goes.
It depends on the team. So there'll be teams that want to get you uncomfortable. They'll ask the same question, try to stump you up, see if you say the same thing again. So like they'll ask you a question early, and then they'll ask it to you in to see if you answer it the same way. Like if you actually know what you're talking about. They'll install plays, they'll go through a full game, and then get back up there and install the play again that they installed to you. So like, it's just, they really try to trip you up, try to get you uncomfortable, and then, so I think if you stay as calm as possible and just go in there with, confident, just be your confident self, I think it ends up going better for you.
You got any really weird questions?
Not too much, besides the stuff about me cheating back in the day in ninth grade. That was, but other than that, no. They kept it pretty bland. I was expecting some stuff, but I think in the end, it's a quarterback that I think they want to get a little more information out of you than like throwing you off with the weird questions, because that means a lot. And obviously, the quarterback's important, but
Can you even put into words what it's going to feel like draft day and then ultimately getting taken?
no, not at all, not at all. Talked about it with a couple people. You're gonna cry and that stuff. Like, I'll tell myself I won't cry, but I also told myself I wouldn't cry after my last game here at Mizzou, and I bawled my eyes out almost before I even got off the field. So I think there's definitely going to be high emotions, and not just myself, but my family and all my friends. Throw today that stood out to me. Probably the first over route I threw. I think we threw a decent amount of overs here, and like a deep over, deep cross. Put it on the face of Travis and stepped up, had to work through a little bit. That was one thing we didn't want to do, is just like take a 7, sit there and wait, and then throw the ball. We wanted to make me confident climb and get up and work back, work forward, just to show that the pocket's never really perfect in the NFL. So if you can make those throws off a 1-2 quick steps, throw it, and that's what we wanted to show.
How valuable has working with Jordan been these last couple months out in LA?
Yeah, it's been huge. I think being out in LA with his regimen that he keeps and just his plan that he has, it's so good. And then being able to come back here with Justin, who was out there in California with us, come back here, work with him in KC for a couple of weeks, have him drive up to Columbia and meet me here to throw a couple of the pro day routes on air with him, catching it. Like, it was just like, I had literally the best of both worlds. I got to bring my guy in KC out to California, work with Jordan. They tag team. They literally try to make it the best experience for me as possible. And for two guys, the quarterback world, if a lot of people don't know about it, those guys can get pretty egotistical. That's my guy, this is my guy. And I think with the way that they work together, I think that's the way it should always be done, because in the end, it really helps us out. If there was bickering between the two and this is my guy, not your guy, it would have just made things really uncomfortable for me. And that was the last thing they wanted to do. They were more focused on me and this process for me, because it only happens once. So I really appreciate both of them being able to do that for me.
What do you do now from now till draft day?
So I'm staying in Kansas City and Columbia, depending on when teams come into town, and meet with teams and work out and do that whole jazz. And then I wait. I lift. I throw every day. See my family a little bit. Spend some time with them. So that's what I'm really excited about too, as well.
Have you decided if you got a green room invite that you'd accept it? Or
say that again?
If you got a green room invite, would you accept it, or you might do something at Summit Grill?
Yeah, I think it's leaning more towards going. More towards going. I would love to recircle around and get to Summit Grill, but it's also a once-in-a-lifetime thing, so kind of like that right now.
It seems like you've been really comfortable through the whole process. I mean, just kind of what's your, how ready, how comfortable have you been now and then through April?
That's just what I wanted to show. That's just who I am. I got thrown in the fire here early. Tried to look as comfortable as I could, just to know that I'll make the guys around me more confident. That's really what I was here. I'm just normally a confident guy. I'm going to come in, I'm going to attack it with everything. Whatever gets thrown at me, like, it is what it is. That's how I operated, and that's what I think ends up helping me get here.
Drew, there's a chance that you're going to be
please.
There's a chance you're going to be drafted by a team like the Giants or the Broncos, who already have an entrenched starter. How do you approach that first year, knowing that you may not have that pressure of
Yeah.
being a starter out of the gate?
So I had amazing backups when I was here. Like, guys were super supportive of me. They pushed me. They knew what made me tick. They knew what got me going, to where I'm going to try to be the same thing for that guy if I do go into that. At the same time, they were obviously gunning for my spot too, so I'm going to keep that mindset as well. But figuring out how to be a good backup, learn from them, and then still at the same time push them as well.
I got stuff. Thanks, Drew.
Thanks, Drew.
Good job.